we are live. I'm gonna let the live audience catch up for a second. We're probably just about there. Welcome to Mixing Night. I'm your host, Ken Lewis. I just got back from my studio in Ecuador this morning. I am living the dream. I really am. That place has magical properties and plenty of challenges too, I assure you. It is in a third world country, but I love it there. Anyway, I've been traveling all night. I am exhausted, but feeling great. Mixing Night community, feed me your energy tonight, please. I need it. And fire away on the chat roll with questions. We have Dominic harvesting them from Germany, and he literally live from Germany. He's grabbing questions from the chat roll and feeding them live to my screen over on the right here. So that we can cherry pick the best questions that suit the show. So fire away. Okay, if you're just tuning in, this is Mixing Night. I am Ken Lewis, and I have the weirdest resume in the entire music industry with 104 gold records to back it up. The credit list has grown a couple in the last few weeks. I did so much cool work down in Ecuador. Oh, Mazzy is already spoiling for treats tonight. So I got to keep under wraps what we did so far, but we had my production partner, Brent and brilliant writer, producer Nick Furlong joined us for the trip as well. And man, we got some joints. So I can't wait for you guys to hear them. Instagram. Follow me on Instagram at Ken Lewis Producer. If you want to see the Ecuador studio and the Ecuador view, it's freaking Bananasville. I might show it later in the broadcast. Anyway, Ken Lewis Producer at Instagram. Tonight, man, I'm really looking forward to hanging with the Mixing Night community. Join me for the next 2 hours. Jump on the chat roll. My chat roll is so awesome. My wife and I love rewatching the show just so we can read the chat roll. And you guys and girls are the best. And you know, you guys are so supportive of each other. It's really awesome to see how this community has grown. Drop a comment in the comments, and let's all have an awesome studio session together tonight. Man, I'm a little bit addicted to this place, and I plan to drop some crazy gems tonight. But did you know, right now, studio rats like me and you from literally all over the world are tuning in live, probably from your studios. And everybody, you know, let us know where you're coming from. Make sure you got those speakers up or good headphones fired up for the sprint mixing, the production breakdowns, the Mazakine spoiling for treats. The dog examples tonight are crazy. I got this crazy compression attack and release thing that I'm going to show you tonight. If you are mystified at all about how it sounds, what it does, why you'd whatever, I'm going to show you tonight. So stick around for that. Really informative, but especially you need those speakers and headphones for ear training, rapid fire delay times, and styles. There's a two-pronged challenge. This is a bigger challenge than I thought it would be. You guys, you better be mentally ready for this. This is going to be tough. You know, it's rapid and it fires, and it's a total of 20 points and bragging rights. Let's see who posts up the biggest true score on the chat roll. Let's see who keeps it honest. Speaking of challenges, a new beat challenge launching tonight. Oh, I'm excited about this one. It's so good. I'll play it for you guys later. I cooked up a super dope starter for you all down in Ecuador. If you haven't joined a beat challenge yet, they are so much fun. For me, most of all. So, but hopefully for you guys too. It seems like you guys really enjoy them. The starter link is in the description of the video you are watching or restreaming right now. You must use the starter. You must use the starter, but the starter is completely royalty free. And you can do whatever you want with it. Write a song, release it, earn millions. Don't give me any. Just remember that I give you gems. So anyway, the whole thing is just have fun creating it, and that's the key. And if you like what you cook up and you want to share it, then submission info is in the links as well on the Beat Challenge. I don't know if we've done that yet, but Dominic, can you put a PDF there for submission info? And the deadline is August 16th, 6 p.m. Eastern, for the August 18th show. The winner gets, I'll get other prizes that are super dope. I don't know what yet. I haven't had time. But the winner gets a beta of GreenHAAS. Mixing Night Audio is so close to releasing GreenHAAS. It's ridiculous. I think we're in beta like tomorrow or maybe this weekend. I don't know. So All the people expecting betas, it's going to rain betas of GreenHAAS coming up the next couple weeks, and then hopefully we'll be live end of August, maybe early September. Man, there are so many challenges to launching a new plugin company that I never expected, that, but it's fun to learn and go along the way. But I understand why there are not more plugin companies out there. This is a real challenge, but I think we're really conquering it well. Okay, so I'll also play the top 10 submissions live, and I'll shout out all the creatives. So get in the game, grab that beat starter from the description, and get to cooking after the show. Don't do it, man of mystery. Marcus, don't you. Back away, Marcus. Let other people play. Okay, we have a new segment on the show tonight called Top 5 Things Rory Didn't Know, which is basically Rory, my new assistant, and he breaks down his top 5 things learned on the job this week. It's really not that serious. But, he does all the work. You guys get all the benefit. It's really fantastic what happens around here at Mixing Night. Marcus Manderson, Mixing Night Man of Mystery, brings you a brand new segment on sampling techniques. This is such a cool segment that will really give you some great actionable techniques that actually could really help you with the beat challenges and also just making your own beats in general. He's dropping some real gems on that tonight, so stick around for that. I think I'm going to do that around 10 past 9, so in about an hour and 10. I'm opening the show with a sprint mix of Skrizzly Adams single Skeletons, produced by Catalyst, me and Brent Colatalo, of course, which Skeletons has done pretty well, especially for an independent release. Amazon Music has been a big supporter. Thank you so much, Amazon. We really appreciate it. Later in the show, I'm doing a full production breakdown of Skeletons in Logic. You guys ask me all the time to show you Logic shit, so tonight's the night. I'm doing a full production breakdown in Logic of Skeletons by Skrizzly Adams. So if you want to open up a new tab, don't leave us. Don't go away. But if you want to open up a new tab for 3 minutes and listen to it on Spotify, gather up any questions that you have on the production or the mix or whatever, and then come straight back to Mixing Night, you can ask anything that you want during the production breakdown. Okay. Whew, this was a long-winded intro. I'm sorry about that. I'm going to shut up and work for 10 minutes. It's sprint mix time. Skrizzly Adams, Skeletons, production breakdown later in the show. Sprint mixing is the best rough mix that you can possibly achieve in 10 minutes flat, from faders down to finished. It's a great skill for a front-of-house engineer to have. Broadcast mixers, too. Obviously, mixers of my caliber. I think it's fantastic. So, anyway, lights up, masks on, and let's go. Skrizzly Adams, Skeletons. Welcome to Mixing Night. I'm Ken Lewis. I'm so glad you found us. Jump on the chat roll, drop us some comments, and where is my... There, boom. And really interact with this awesome Mixing Night community. They're really fantastic. And check out the, if anybody's on Discord, we have a really great Mixing Night Discord community. And Marcus Manderson, among others, posts all of his free stuff over there. And it's curated free stuff. It's not just like vomited out free stuff. Marcus really goes through the stuff, picks the good stuff, weeds out the crap, and gives you a great list of free stuff. So if you're on a tight budget, you can still create awesome stuff, and Marcus and Discord and Mixing Night can show you how to do it. And if you check out Marcus's segment, he'll show you even more gems. So this is Mixing Night. This is... Watch yourself, baby girl. She is so treat driven. All right, good girl. All right, where's my 10 minutes on the clock? Sorry, I'm a little bit scattered. Boom. Skrizzly Adams, Skeletons. Follow him on socials. He's great. Do you see that immediately I went for melodic instruments? So I got a foundation of something that I could tap my foot along to, but then because this is mixing, I want to get more melodic things in early so I can work the drums around the melodies and you know, you get it.
skeletons. Shaking up our love while we're nimble and young. Rattle my bones. We'll never be too old to move our skeletons.
Let's dig a hole we can fall in. Dug by our feet while we dancing. Take off your diamonds and gold. Stripped at the bone, give me something to hold on to. I'll give you something to move on. From nothing to song, can't stay silent. We can work post-retirement. Close your eyelids and I'll take you deep into the night. Underground into the blind. But while we above, say let's keep this alive.
So rattle my bones. Forever is an never-ending love that we. Or if I die, you'll need to find another love that's gonna ignite your soul. I said the sky's not gonna fall, it's gonna cry, then it'll bring us home. You'll never need no other lover, babe, you know I'll never let you go. Yeah, you asked me if forever is a never-ending love that we stole. Or if I die, you'll need to find another love that's gonna ignite your soul. I said the sky tone. You'll never need no other lover, babe, you know I.
You know, I talk a lot about finding signature sounds. That's definitely one of them. It's not just an acoustic guitar. It's an acoustic guitar fed through some really unique chain that sounds unique to Skrizzly. Check it out.
Ask me if forever is a never-ending love that we stole.
Boy, ain't that the importance of balance. If that was too loud, it would sound really stupid, but it, you know, blended right in the mix, it just gives this great energy.
Close your eyelids and I'll take you deep into the night. Round into the blind. Are we above? Say let's keep this something to move on from. Song can't stay silent. Can work post-retirement. Close your eyelids and I'll take you deep into the night. Underground into the blind. But while we above, say let's keep this something to move on from. Nothing the song can't stay silent. We can work post-retirement. Close your eyelids and I'll take you deep into the night. Underground into the blind. But while we above, say let's keep this something to move on from. Nothing to.
We'll never be too old to move our skeletons. We'll never be too old to move our skeletons. then it'll bring us home. You'll never need no other lover, babe. You know I'll never let you go. So rattle my bones, shaking up our love while we're nimble and young. My bones, we'll never be too old to move our skeletons. And after all the years of coming and taking its toll, live and die and do it again. But while we're breathing on the evening, I can't think of any better plans. You'll never need no other lover up above. I'll wait on your command. So rattle my bones, shaking up our love while we're nimble and young. Rattle my bones, we'll never be too old to move our skeletons. Be too old to move our skeletons. We'll never be too old to move our skeletons. Let's dig a hole we can fall in. Dug by our feet while we dancing. Take off your diamonds and gold. Stripped to the bone, give me something to hold on to. I'll give you something to move on. From nothing to song, can't stay silent. We can work post-retirement. Close your eyelids and I'll take you deep into the night. Underground into the blind. But while we above, say let's keep this alive. So rattle my bones, shaking up our love while we're nimble and young. Rattle my bones, we'll never be too old to move our skeletons. So rattle my bones,
All right. Skrizzly Adams Skeletons. Sprint mix, 10 minutes start to finish. Whew, that'll get the blood flowing. If I didn't just use up all of my brain power just now, let's get the lights back to sanity levels. Come on, lights. Come on. Is that off? All right. And broadcast. Boom. Hey, we got tech around here. It is really cool. We're slowly entering the 21st century. Rory is definitely helping a lot with that. Sorry, it's going to be a coffee in your ear kind of a night. That's what you get with no sleep. But man, feeling good for mixing night. All right, so I'm going to do a little bit of Q&A, and then Rory's top 5 list is coming up right after that. And then I'm going to do this really cool attack and release compression thing for you. Oh my goodness, Mazzy, you're going to have to relax a little bit. Let's go, Dominic, if you got any questions on the chat roll, man, start firing them over to me. I'm going to go to some of the pre-submitted. Kendrick asks, what's the main things to look for in a good mix? I think it's like esoteric things. Does the vocal catch you? Not necessarily can you hear every word, because some people mumble like crazy and they sound great. So I'm not going to critique that. But when you hear it, does it move you? Do you want to listen again? And that goes for the lead vocal and the overall mix, really. That's the whole point. Like, you can be very technically correct with a mix and it can feel very sterile. So you got to be careful. You're always looking for the vibe and the feel and how you. And that's why sprint mixing is so important, because sprint mixing gets you to shed the technology and just focus on what's coming out of the speakers or out of your headphones, and you make decisions reacting to that. And all of a sudden, you're doing most of your mix work with balances, which is most of what mixing is, instead of trying to immediately reach for plugin after plugin. And here's a quick pro tip for anybody who needs it. Most pros, myself included, don't use many plugins. Vocals are a different story. Vocals need what they need, and you just pile on until the shit sounds right. But everything else typically comes out of a box. Typically, the sounds already sound great, so they need little to no treatment. Balance, that's why I start with balances and then I add to that. So hopefully that helps. Bum, bum, bum. Mace asks, "Hey Ken, why is it that everyone teaches you about mixing but never gives you an actual look at tuning and editing?" Mace, have you watched Mixing Night? I don't think you have. You found the right place. Go back and watch a whole bunch of my previous episodes. I have dropped that stuff dozens of times. And your follow-up, nobody picks up an Apollo Twin or any smaller brand of interface and shows us what we really have is enough. Mace, I have an Apollo Twin. It has been on 4 continents with me, and I've talked about it many times on the show. So tell your friends about Mixing Night. This is the real deal around here. Honestly, for those who are new to Mixing Night who don't really know me, the best thing about me is anything that I tell you is something that I know and do, and it comes directly from me. And if it doesn't, I will say so. And I show the things, I show the plugins that I love, I show the techniques that I actually use, and I'm kind of from the Dave Pensato school and shout out to Dave Pensato. He just had me on Pensato's Place as his feature guest. I was so incredibly honored. Thank you so much, Dave Pensato, for having me on Pensato's Place. That was incredible. So where was I? But Pensato always is super free with his information, and I've always been really influenced by that. So I'm just like, here it is. I could teach you everything. You could know everything that I know, and you're going to make records differently than I do because everybody's taste is a little bit different, and you just got to point 10 degrees off center and you're down a different lane. And if anybody needs proof of that, check out any of the beat challenges. Listen to the starter I serve up and listen to all of the crazy different directions everybody goes. Okay, we got to get to Rory Miller. Rory is coming on into the studio. Grab that seat and set it up. Oh, Rory's going to be able to get a Mazzy treat. So this is the top 5 things Rory didn't know. Wait. Oh, now you're live.
Good evening. There we go.
All right. First, you need to endear the hellhound.
I do. You're right.
She's like, I'll turn my back on my owner in a moment for a treat.
There you go.
Okay, let me put away the Jedi skeleton sprint. That was really fun, man. I love Skrizzly Adams. Let's see. Okay, so right. Rory, you've been working here how long now? Like full time?
Since early June, so almost 2 months.
Almost.
Wow, that's crazy. I didn't even realize it's been that long.
It probably feels like 2 years.
Yeah.
So, okay, in the last week or two, what are the top 5 things that you have learned?
So the first thing is to, when you're recording a choir, to have them sing in sections. It just makes everything a little bit easier, and it makes you be able to kind of arrange the song in a way so that, if you need to redo a certain part, it's very easy to find every single, place that you're trying to get to. Or, if you got to go back, you got to have people redo things. It's just really easy organization wise too for, the engineer sitting in the chair to just be able to go, I'm at this section here. These are all of our vocal takes. And then when it's time to comp later, it just makes everything a lot easier.
Here's the other half of that trick that maybe isn't super clear. So what I do is if the choir is singing on, say, the first 4 bars of the chorus, I will take the first 4 bars of the chorus and I will loop that 4, 5, 6, 8 times. So the choir only needs to think about that 4 bars of lyrics that they're singing or whatever they're doing, and they can really fine tune it over take after take until it locks in nicely. And then comping, you can just pick your best moments and then assemble them later out of the piecemeal that you're doing. Okay. Yeah. Number 4.
Whenever you're in doubt, always be in record. And this is a big thing because, a lot of times artists in the studio will be warming up, kind of putting out their ideas, and they might come up with something super, super fire, just messing around. And they're like, oh my God, I want to keep that. So, if you're always recording them whenever you can, obviously there's some times where it doesn't really fit, but as if you're recording them and they have some cool ideas and you actually have it, that makes you look good that you recorded it, because if they want to use it, you're looking good for that.
Especially during initial creation sessions, or overdub session, any kind of creation session. If you're the guy with the controls and the record button under your fingers, you want to be paying attention to the entire room, and especially the artist, as much as possible. And if something creative is happening, if you can do something to catch it, that's what you should be doing. So great. Number three.
When you're recording, especially when you're recording somebody with an instrument, what you can do is pretty much say, you get comfortable, I'll move the mic. So what you're doing is you're making them kind of feel confident. Okay, all right, I'm loosening up a little bit. I can, get ready. And you place the mic on them, so you have full control where, you want sonically the mic to go, but also it makes them feel a little bit more relaxed as well. And it makes them feel like you got it as well. So yeah.
And what context did that come up?
That came in context when we were recording guitar. For
what
something.
Kind?
Acoustic guitar. And so we were figuring out mic placement, and so that gem was dropped.
Nice. Yeah. Mistake one is engineer forces performer to move to the position that engineer wants them in, instead of most comfortable position for natural best playing for the performer.
Absolutely.
Number two,
don't volunteer your services as an assistant. I did not make this mistake, but it is something that, we talked about. And that, so, I'm a guitar player. I play other instruments as well, but it would never be as an assistant my place to say, oh, you need a guitar player. Oh, I can do that. It's not a good idea. It's putting the producer's credits in jeopardy. It's putting their neighboring rights in jeopardy. There's a bunch of things that, you wouldn't necessarily think about in your head when you offer your services, because I could get my name on this record. It's just in the long run not worth it, and you should probably just wait until you're actually in that position formally to do so.
Indeed. Yeah, you got to be really careful, whatever your role is in the room, unless you're invited by the person who put you in the room or the person who's running the room to expand your role, you don't expand your role in the room.
Yeah.
And the number one thing that you've learned.
This is a technical thing, and I just didn't know this. So this is a little EQ tip. The dB per octave on an EQ actually has to do with the ringingness of whatever you're sweeping. I had no idea that was a thing until I forget what we were working on last week, but it ended up we needed to filter something, and I had no idea. But yes, dB per octave, when you see that on your EQ, that actually does change ringingness
on your filter.
On the filter, filter changes the ringingness of whatever you're listening to.
It does a bit on EQ as well. You got to be really careful and real gentle with it, but you can really hear the effect on a filter. So if you take like a full mix and put something that is capable of going from gentle to really steep, and what you want to do is you want to listen to the crossover point of where the filter begins filtering, and you want to listen to what that sounds like. And the steeper that the curve drops off a cliff, it starts distorting and ringing right at that frequency drop off there, and it smooths out as you lighten up the curve again. So with filters, and it has the same effect on an EQ in kind of the same and different way. But with filters, you got to know that, because sometimes you're doing these filter sweeps and like the sweep is distorting and you're like, what the I can't solve this.
It's happened to me.
Yeah. And it happened to me so many times, and I'm like, I guess I'm just going to live with this because I don't know how to fix it. And then one day I was like, see, even like at super pro level over here, we don't know everything. I'm just skating through life trying to get it done, and I pick up new tips all the time. That's one of the great things about mixing night for me is, I'm constantly learning new shit and then passing it along to you. So Rory, you've been here 2 months now. Oh, was that thunder? Uh-oh.
Oh.
If it's thunder time,
That's not
Mazzy
good.
is worry time. It's about to be. You might want to let her out. Oh, man. You know, she is such a hellhound, but man, let it thunderclap one time, and she's like, oh, nope. And I have
Not
no
for her.
part of that. So, did we not? Oh, that's better. You know,
This is my official lighting, but
that's the lighting we worked out before the show for
I thought
this
it looked
bit.
pretty good otherwise. I think
But
it's all right.
yeah, hopefully you could still see Rory back in there in the dark. But this is what he actually looks like
Hello, everybody.
during the light of day. So a fun tip about Rory, if you did not know this, he graduated high school and started full time with me the next day.
Yeah.
And he was hired on merit because he earned his place around here, and he continues to earn his place around here. And, you know, to guys like me, sure, a college degree is nice, but it's not the thing that defines you. The thing that defines you is your drive and your hunger and your ability to read situations and your ability to contribute to a team, and things like that. And so far, so good. So we'll see where it goes. Rory might be getting a big credit or two here coming up. Can't tell you what it is yet, but we got a couple brewing that are. I like credits. You know, I got some big ones coming. Got some real big ones coming. You have to make a train.
Yes,
So, Rory Miller, thank you very much.
All right.
So,
See you guys.
all right. Thank you, Rory.
Yeah, of course.
Okay, he's got to jump on a train for a very long commute. You know, that's another thing. Like, he does not live close to here at all, and he's got a long trek in and a long trek home, and he does it like 4 or 5 days a week. And you know, hey, if he wants to move close, cool. But the job is where it is, and he's making that trek. It's really impressive that he's sticking to it and showing up on time every day and not missing his trains. And reliability is a big deal in assistant land. Okay, let's go back to some Q&A real quick, and then I'm about to drop that compression attack and release thing, which is going to be super cool. Okay, Country boy, who's texting me right now? And why is my ringer on? Country boy, what is the best? Hey Ken, what is the best way to compress vocals and final mix? So there is no best way. The best way is to learn all of the skills necessary to know when to use what tool at the right time and what that tool is going to do for you, the result that it's going to get before you actually reach for that tool. That's the critical component here. And that takes time and experience and experimentation and watching Mixing Night, because I show this stuff all the time. So you can check out my vocal chain on any number of... I'm going to show my vocal chain later on tonight for Skrizzly Skeletons. Brent did that mix with me as well. Obviously, he and I produced it. It was more his production than mine. Okay, so yeah, you gotta... That's why I'm doing Mixing Night. I'm trying to give you guys all of the skills, not the, you know, this template works on everything, because no template works on everything. Man, Mazzy is just, that thunder, and she's done. John Bishop asks, hey, Ken, where can I get GreenHAAS? That's his words, not mine. I was trying to find it for a mix I did over the weekend, and I can't find it. John Bishop, we are about to enter beta. We thought we'd be there a month ago or more, but these things, man, they just take time. And to do them right and to really develop something that is going to cut through all of the noise of the 50 gazillion shit plugins that are being created. I think we're on to something with GreenHAAS. That shit is fire. So whoever is owed a beta, I've given betas away for the mixing contests and the beat challenges and things, and a bunch of my mixing friends and producer friends are going to get betas. So the world is about to be flooded with betas, and hopefully we'll be selling in maybe 3 or 4 weeks. It's exciting. Mixing Night Audio, the plugins are coming, and they are super dope. Thomas asks, do you still need outboard gear for a better mix, or does it matter? Thomas, no. No, you don't. And I'm sitting in front of an SSL that I love mixing on. But I'm a realist, and you can get top results in the box, no problem at all. Well, not no problem at all. I mean, you got to have the skill sets to do it. But to me, the difference is that it's a tactile experience of how you get to your end result. Oh, Mazzy is just having the worst time. So it's a tactile experience of how you get to your end result. Personally, I really don't like as much only sitting in front of a screen or a laptop and a mouse and clicking around and making music. I can do it. I'm proficient at it. I do it all the time when I have to, especially when I'm in Ecuador. I don't have this console in Ecuador. But here, this is the comfort zone. This is the creative zone. Man, it's so easy and fast for me to mix on this thing. So by the time you've clicked the mouse over, if you can show the overhead, by the time you've clicked the mouse onto track 5 and then track 16 and then track 11, I've done boom, 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 and I've turned a pan and I've adjusted an EQ, and you can be all over the console in real time very quickly in ways that you cannot do with a mouse. And it allows your brain more ability to focus on what's coming out of the speakers and less on where your hand needs to click to do some action that the complete other side of your brain needs to occupy some space to make that happen. Me, I'm like, turn my stupid brain off and just put me on autopilot. That's where I work best. Having said that, I spent many years learning all of the skill sets and making them second nature to me. So, you know, there's that. So, but once the skill, the ultimate goal is once the skill sets are second nature, then you turn your brain off and you just go into creative mode and you ask yourself, what does the song need? You envision the best way to deliver that result, and then you act. And that's what we do all day, every day. And it's a lot of fun. I've been making records for most of my life, and I still absolutely love doing it. But it is also absolutely insane work. It's tough to make any kind of a living. It's tough to stay at the level that I'm at. And I work very hard to stay at the level I'm at and keep growing. I mean, I want to keep my career going upwards, and I think it is. Okay. Let's go to the compression. That shit is so dope. Okay. Boom. All right. So sorry, I need the coffee tonight. I have set up a series of compressors. You're going to have to take my word for it that I've set up 10 snare hits. Sorry, like 11 or 12. No compression, fastest attack, then I slow the attack down. The only thing different from 1 to 10 or 1 to 9 is that the attack is on 1, 4, the attack is on 4, you get the idea, 8, the attack is on 8, and 9, the attack is on 9. And then the slow is 10. And listen to the difference of, and every other setting is exactly the same. The release is fastest release. So I want you to listen. I've volume matched the first 2 hits, the no compression and the fastest attack. Listen to this. Okay, do you hear how the no compression has a lot of stick attack? It's got a really big transient, and then the body of it dies off really quick. Whereas the fastest attack has virtually no stick at all, but it's just like almost white noise early. It's just psh, but it doesn't have a defined transient, because with the fastest attack, you took that away. Listen to it again. All right, hopefully you can hear that. So now I want you to listen to how the sound evolves when the only thing that is changing is the attack time. So it goes from fastest attack to slowest attack on this snare drum. What you're really listening for is, do you have stick attack, or is that being crushed? Are you getting a good balance and blend between the body of the snare and the stick in a way that suits your song, because every song is going to be a different thing. So does it work best for your song? So listen to these examples and you can see how radically different you can alter the sound that you're working with just with the attack time on a compressor. Okay, interesting fact. I set this up so that the very last hit, the 10 attack, would have no compression. I'm 1. It's just barely touching it, right? I'm sorry, but the input is what the threshold is. So the only thing that's changing is the attack. Okay, so I think you get that. I'm going to play through it one more time, just so you can really hear the difference between a fast attack crushing your transients, which sometimes is what you want, and because you want to bring up the body of the snare. But as the attack slows down a little bit, you get a little bit of that stick, but you still get the body. Around like 3 or 4 is where I think the balance feels really good. And I'll just show you from how much it reacts to the fastest attack, where it's really grabbing that transient. 10 dB of reduction down to, let's say, attack at 7. And sorry, I gotta... So by the time we get to 7, we're only reducing by 5, where the fastest attack was down by 10. And then by the time we're at the slowest attack, we're reducing by 1, barely. Okay, and then the other thing that I wanted to show you was fastest release. So I have a medium attack set up so that some of that initial stick comes through, but not too much of it. And everything else is the same except for the release. We will start with fastest release, and then it goes incrementally 1 at a time. And just so the thing about this is, listen to how much more present the attack becomes as the release gets slower, because it's no longer, it hits and pulls down, and then it keeps the ring of the snare suppressed a little bit before it releases and comes back up. That's what the slower release is doing. Listen. The only thing changing is the release time. That's it. One more listen through. So you can envision how it's easiest to show compression on drums because they can react super fast to transients and things like that. But you can imagine how if you have a vocal that just isn't kind of biting enough, how if you have a kind of a slower attack and a fast release, you can let the leading edge of their words kind of just poke through a little bit, and then you smash everything forward, and it kind of it gives them a little bit of a aggression is the word that I'm looking for. So do you have questions? You know, I haven't gone to the chat roll. Guys on the chat roll, I am so sorry. Ben Ellery asks, hey, Ken, when is Brent going to be a guest? God, man, I've tried this a couple times. He was supposed to be over. He was supposed to be my first guest after I was vaccinated, and he got stuck in traffic and couldn't make it. So I'll get him on the show soon. He'll be around. We were just down in Ecuador together. It was fucking amazing. Okay, from the chat roll, Sam Champagne asks, hey, Ken. Hey, Sam Champagne. How much did the change in equipment in Toulouse affect your mixing process and outcome? Oh, that's a great question. What she's talking about is the difference between me sitting in front of this and working in my comfort zone where I know my speakers well and I know exactly what my gear does, to Toulouse where it was a big open room and I didn't really know and it wasn't my speakers and I had to use a different controller that I wasn't really familiar with and all of these different variables. And what I found was mostly my results were pretty darn solid. I trust my results more here. But I found that, at least with mouse mixing, and whatever I got a PreSonus fader port. I got a fader port 8 for Ecuador, and I love it down there. It's really great for comping vocals, which is job number one usually, and mixing, down in Ecuador for me when I didn't have a controller that I could just easily switch on the fly between vocals while I was comping, and I comp really old school, so... Anyway, I'm getting a little sidetracked. Did that answer your question, Sam? I'm not really sure. From the chat rolls, Xavier? Javier Davis asks, hey Ken, are there any tips for crowded mixes? Well, it depends on kind of the level of artist that you're working with and your working relationship with them, because you don't want to start butchering or removing pieces from a mix that you were hired to do by a high level person. You know, they probably put those sounds in there very on purpose, and you don't want to be the guy that thinks you're out cooling everybody by taking them out. Having said that, if you're producing or if you're really familiar with the artist, we play the what can you mute game, which is pick a section, loop it, and just mute sounds, bring them in and out one at a time, and just listen and ask yourself, is it better or worse? And if you do that for all of the sections in a song, at the end of your mix, of your production, of whatever it is, almost always there's something that you're like, wow, it just breathes so much better without that element in it. And that's a really tough thing for young creatives to learn, is the value of space. And you certainly don't always need it. But man, space in a mix is often exactly what you need, because our tendencies tend to be, oh, I have this idea, and then I have this other great idea, and I have another great idea, and oh my God, I'm so filled with ideas. And then the listener hears it, and they're like, there are so many ideas going on, I cannot find the song. And that's it's a problem with almost every creative. So that you're doing it, don't feel alone. You're very much in a club. And playing the what can you mute game can really help you figure out what is important and valuable and what is not. So there you have it. From the chat roll, Official Secu asks, hey Ken, what is your go-to vocal compressor? Well, I have a few of them. If I'm cutting vocals live, I have where is it? Thermionic Culture The Phoenix, which is a Verymu tube compressor. I love it on vocals. I don't like it on mix bus. I love the Manley Verymu on mix bus. I'm a Verymu guy, apparently. Yeah, I love that thing. And in the for plugins, Waves, Kramer Pi, UAD Distressor, or the Empirical Labs Arouser is the same thing with a distortion circuit. That's a little bit better at the end of it. I mean, those are the two main ones that I'm usually. I can pretty much mix with anything. It's just a feel thing. You just got to work through it, and you know, it's not the tools. It's how you use the tools. And I just showed you that with the attack and release time. It's always how you use the tools and what tools that you choose for the job. You know, eventually you got to get to the point where you're choosing the right tools for the right thing that you're trying to accomplish. Okay, I'm going to start the beat challenge and then ear training directly after the beat challenge. The beat challenge. Okay, so I'm serving you guys up a starter. It is completely royalty free. Do whatever you want with it. Go write a song, put it out, make millions. Don't give me anything. I don't care. Well, I do. You know, it'd be nice. You know, hook me up. But you know, you must use the starter in your production or your beat or your song or whatever you use. But you can do whatever you want with it. Flip it, change it, chop it up, pitch it. And Marcus Manderson is coming up in a little bit to show you a bunch of really cool sampling techniques to possibly help you win the beat challenge. Oh. Okay, so I'm going to play this. I cooked this up down in Ecuador, so I think it's inspired. Certainly beach inspired. And here it is. It's only 8 bars. Check it out. Where? Okay. One more time so you can hear it. You can download it. There is a download link in the video that you are watching live or restreaming right now. The deadline is August 16th at 6 p.m. Eastern. Yeah, one more time. All right, let's see who throws down. Okay, Javier Davis from the chat roll asks, "Hey Ken, what if you receive some vocal stems from the artist, but some parts of the vocals are brighter and thicker than the rest?" Any number of things. If it's supposed to be a match thing where the A is supposed to sound like B, then I might try running something like Match EQ on them. The thing that I showed last show, this RX8 from Isotope, it's a little expensive, but my God, it is, wow, it is mind-blowing the shit that does. And I'm pretty sure it does Match EQ really well. So you could have it analyze one vocal and then analyze the other vocal and go, make this one have the same EQ curve as this one, and it will be pretty effective at it. And you might have to go line by line sometimes to really dial it in, because vocals change, the EQ changes with the syllable and the dynamic and things like that. So, you know, but that may get you a lot further than where you currently are. Let's do some ear training. Who is ready to throw down on this week's ear training challenge? We have delay, times, and styles. So I couldn't just make it one thing, of course. And where is it here? Ear training. No, okay, that's the worksheet. So here's, you can read that while I'm firing up the session. Where is the session? Oh, boom. Okay. So, you got to pick what style of delay it is. Mono, stereo using the Haas effect, GreenHAAS, and or ping pong. So you got to choose that right. That's 1.4 or against you. And then the delay time itself is going to be... So the way I have this mapped out is real tempo friendly, but everything is at a different tempo. So you'll hear it. You get 2 listens through, and then the big reveal. So you're guessing delay time of the repeats, and mono, stereo, or ping pong. Tap in your friends. Let's throw down. All right, let's see who gets high score tonight. Two. Three. Actually, sorry, if you haven't downloaded your ear training worksheet, the ear training worksheet is a PDF in the link of the broadcast you are currently watching. So pause, go download that PDF worksheet so that you can follow right along. I'm going to start one more time from the top, and let's go. Two. Three. Flutter echoes. Four. That sounded intense. Number 5. Number 6, and you're guessing in milliseconds. Number 7 coming up. Number 8. Nine. Ten. All right, one more listen through everything and then the reveals. 1. 3. 4. 5. 6. 7. 8. 9. 10. Lock in your final answers. All right, here's the answers. Where's the answers? Boom. I'm just going to play the first of each one so that you guys can kind of hear what we're working with. First one, 50 milliseconds, ping pong, real flutters. Number 2, 350 milliseconds, Haas effect. Number 3, 100 milliseconds, Haas. Number 4, 250, ping pong. Number 5, 600 milliseconds, mono. That's not mono, that's stereo. Number 6, 1,000 milliseconds, 1 second. This is mono. Okay, 7 is 400 milliseconds. 8 is 800 milliseconds, Haas. Sorry, the 7 was ping pong. Hopefully you can see that on screen. Number 9, 150 milliseconds, mono. Number 10, 1,000 milliseconds, ping pong. All right, how did you all do? Post up on the chat roll and let me see your answers. Who got the best score? Let's see who gets bragging rights tonight. And we do this every show, so if you're new to Mixing Night, tap in your friends, get everybody involved in ear training. You know, somebody needs to start an ear training league out there, and we need to pit schools against each other. I want to see what Berkeley does against Miami, against Belmont, and you know, let's see who's throwing down with some real skills out there. Okay, how did you all do? Next part of the show. Oh, so a couple shout outs. So I was just down in Ecuador at my place down there for the last week and a half, working with my production partner Brent Colatalo and the incredible writer producer Nick Furlong. And Nick is having a fucking great week. He is a producer and writer on the new Papa Roach single, Swerve. Where is it? There it is. Check this shit out. Oh my god.
Hey, Kobe, let me hit this one time. Let me get this right here. Yo, watch this. Fuck you, Tony!
I love Papa Roach. So Nick Furlong and Papa Roach go way back. Man, he's done a ton of work with him. This new album is a whole lot more of the same. Super, you know how some high-level creatives, the creativity for them is just like a faucet that won't turn off. They're just like, once they're on, once they're in go mode, they're just, the ideas just flood. And Nick is one of those guys. He's just really an exceptional creative brain. So much fun hanging out with him. I can't wait to have you guys hear the stuff that we created. So big shout out to Nick, and congrats on the Papa Roach stuff. It's fucking amazing. I didn't work on that, but he did. And his wife, Susanna Sophia, who cut my locks for me. Boy, we lost about that much. And but boy, it needed. When Susanna saw my split end, she was like, ah! So she chopped those right off and wrangled them in. So thank you to Nick and Susanna, man. We just had a great time down in Ecuador together. Okay. back to some Q&A, and then I'm going to do Marcus Manderson, Mixing Night Man of Mystery. Why do I have the radio announcer voice tonight? I don't know. But I do. And then after that, Skeletons Breakdown, and that's probably going to end the show. But I got some cool stuff to show on the breakdown, and that's going to be in Logic. So if you're just tuning in, everybody always asks me to show stuff in Logic. I'm going to show a bunch of stuff in Logic tonight. On to the chat roll. Playmaker asks, hey Ken, will mixing vocals in mono make the final mix louder than mixing in stereo? Do you mean louder or do you mean better? There is no right or wrong answer. It could go either way. But typically, depending on how many vocals you need and how cluttery the center gets, that's usually why I spread vocals out to give the center vocal more impact. So if you, for instance, you have a lead vocal in your chorus and you have a double and a triple that are doing the exact same thing as the lead, maybe not quite as expressive, but really mirroring it so that they are a support for them, and you mix them kind of the same way, a little bit darker, a little more de-essed. Center, and then a double triple left right, maybe vocal line it if they're a little bit sloppy, and that can make the center vocal, especially if you go from a mono center vocal in a verse to a stereo 3 track vocal in the chorus like that, it can still feel very anchored in the center, but man, it's just going to be like boom wide. All of a sudden, the impact that you can achieve from going to kind of a more mono-ish mix in the verse to a more stereo-ish mix in the chorus can be a really powerful tool. So there is no right or wrong answer to that, but there are some ideas for you. From the chat roll, Dom asks, hey Ken, do you use Haas with repeats and with such long repeat times? Basically, the way plugin manufacturers get a stereo delay to sound stereo, if it's like, say you have a 600 millisecond delay time, but as it delays, it spreads out really nicely and it just keeps that nice spread. That's like the Haas effect. That's how you get that from, you take a mono delay and all you do is take a mono delay and you put the Haas effect on it, and GreenHAAS would be the best way to do that. Yes. And you spread that out, and then boom, you have stereo delay. That's it. Or you can the Haas effect is basically very minor differences in delay times. So, okay. What's next? I think I am going to go to Marcus Manderson, Mixing Night Man of Mystery. Marcus has a great segment tonight on sampling techniques. If you're going to join the Beat Challenge, and I really hope that you do, they're so much fun, and I'm going to find some great prizes for everybody. But the participation is really the thing with the Beat Challenges, and Marcus is going to drop some real gems to maybe help you open up some creativity with your Beat Challenge, and just making music in general. This can apply to a whole bunch of different things. So the other thing is his I think their nieces and nephews are in the background making noise. It is the cutest thing in the entire world. Marcus, I was dying watching this. It's so funny. Okay, where is Marcus Manderson, Mixing Night Man of Mystery? Boom.
What's good, Mixing Night family? This is Marcus Manderson, Mixing Night Man of Mystery, back with another Mixing Night Man of Mystery moment. In this Mixing Night Man of Mystery moment, we're going to talk all about sampling, how you can chop samples up. You might be able to hear my nieces and nephews. They're staying with us, but that's the nature of the world we live in. Sample chopping ideas, specifically using Logic Pro, but you can apply these to any DAW that you're using. So let's get right into it. Here I am in Logic Pro. I have the July 7th starter sample. Here is how that sounds. So right off the bat, what you can do in Logic or any DAW, if you have a flex pitch option, you can go to flex pitch. You can adjust the speed of it just from using the flex pitch. Let's say I want to cut this in half. Let's say another thing, if you click the eye up here in Logic Pro and you go to region, click that drop down triangle, and what you can do is transpose it. So let's say I want to transpose it down 4 semitones. do is I actually like to get a little bit more hands-on control. So what I do is I drag the actual audio file to a quick sampler track here in Logic. It'll create a whole sampler file out of it, and it'll splice it up, and I can play individual notes on my keyboard. If you don't have a keyboard and you're using something like Logic, you can have the on-screen keyboard here, and you can just play, use your QWERTY keys. So let's just come up with a quick pattern, and then we'll add some more effects to that. Here we go. So yeah, so I like that. You have some different ways to chop up the sample in Sampler here. You can do by transient, you can do beat divisions, equal divisions, or manual chops. We're not going to get all the way into Sampler, but that's just one way where you can get in here. You can add different effects. You can change the pitch. So let's say I want to pitch this down 3 semitones in here. But yeah, you can change the pitch. You can have some filters, EQs if you want. Speaking of EQ, we'll go right to the first plugin. This is the stock Logic EQ plugin. Let's say you want to add in some EQ. You just want to take out some highs and lows. You can really add or take out any frequencies you want. Here's how that sounds. Next, we have delay. This is the Logic stock delay. So I just have it on the default tape delay setting. So you hear how that delay fades out, but you can have some fun with delays, and reverbs, and echoes. Next, we have Remix Effects, another stock Logic plugin that you can use for adding like effects, live DJ sound effects, and things like that, stutters and things like that. Here's an example of that. Next, we have Vinyl by Isotope, which is a free plugin. Did someone say free? I think I just did. That you can use to add some vintage sounding effects to your sound. So here is some vinyl on this sample. And you also have this cool DJ spin down effect that you can automate also. So definitely have fun with Vinyl by Isotope. Next, we have Halftime by Cable Guys. This is where you can cut the audio in half. This is a free demo I'm using. So definitely have check out the Cable Guys Halftime plugin. Next, we have another free plugin. This is Valhalla Space Modulator. You can add some reverb, delay, sort of all-in-one phasing type things. And finally, we have Space Light by Cymatics. This is the free version. You can upgrade to get some other settings, but with the free version, you get space, long haul, and the spring reverb. Let's try spring reverb, and we'll try adjust some settings here. So definitely check out these plugins. I will include links to the plugins that you can get for free in the Discord group, the Free Stuff channel. Again, there's a new plugin coming out on the horizon if you haven't heard, by Mixing Night Audio, GreenHAAS, which can also be great for flipping these samples for these sample challenges or for the productions that you're working on. Stay tuned. I don't know the release date. Ken can come in right after this segment and tell you the plan for releasing that. GreenHAAS on the way. When that comes out, maybe we'll do some videos on how you can use that for your samples as well. Until then, this has been Marcus Manderson, Mixing Night Man of Mystery. Be safe and be well, everyone. All right, peace.
Thank you, Marcus Manderson, Mixing Night Man of Mystery. I love your segments, dude. Such a cool one. And Marcus has a secret copy of GreenHAAS, if he didn't tell you, and apparently he loves it. So I'm on to something, man. We really cooked up a beast with that thing. I'm just so happy with it. So yeah, the beta is maybe tomorrow or the next day. I don't know. We're right around the corner with beta. GreenHAAS Mixing Night Audio is coming. And we got another great plugin lined up after that one. Oh, man. Okay. I think I'm going to... was there another Q&A? Oh, yeah. There was one Q&A I wanted to take pre-submitted from HAL9000. HAL9000 asks, hey, Ken, once your mix is locked in, what can you add to the master bus to add a little sparkle without losing any sound? I sometimes lose sound if I add stuff, or it overcompensates the bass, etc. What do I do? So, all right, HAL9000. The two easiest solutions that I find for non high skill level mix bus people. Like, I'm very good at it. You know, I'm not a goat mastering engineer, but I'm dangerous. You know, I know what to do. So, but if you're not, Ozone 9 has this thing called Master Assistant, which is like some voodoo shit. It's like their RX8. They are so high tech, it's ridiculous. But Ozone 9 is a really fantastic mastering tool. It's got a mastering assistant. You set the parameters that you want. You hit go, and it basically does it for you. And most of the time, the results are really, really, really good. That doesn't mean that you're finished. Then sometimes you need, to really get to pro level, you need one more kind of step, and I can't really teach that here. So, but that'll get you to at least, almost super pro level. The other thing is Lander, and Lander is basically like a website. You upload your thing, you have it master it live, and then you have it spit back out to you. And when Lander started, it wasn't all that great. Here's the thing about software. It improves all the time. And all those people, I don't really know them. I know a couple guys over there tangentially, but I do know, because I heard them talking on Clubhouse about their process and that they're always constantly, and same with Ozone 9. Lander is the same thing. They're constantly improving their algorithms so that the Lander that you used a year ago and 2 years ago is not the Lander that you're using now. And here's what I want to stress to all of my listeners, because I care dearly about the sound of records coming out. I really, really do. I want you all to make great, great sounding records. But take shortcuts wherever you can get them, and take improvements wherever you can get them, however you can get them, without cheating people, of course. But things like Master Assistant and Lander, those are tools. Auto-Tune is a tool. And if your artist is a phenomenal singer but sings a little bit out of tune, then use that tool to help get them to pro level and keep all the feel. So, okay, I don't know if I'm making sense there, but yeah, those two things I think are really great finishing things. Check those two things out. I'm gonna pull up Skrizzly Adams. So if anybody has any production questions on Skrizzly Adams, did Dominic play on this? I think Dominic did the bones on this. Oops, I gotta quit Pro Tools. Yeah, I'm gonna show you some mind-blowing audio transformations of the what is now sounds like the synth lead line. Take all of the plugins off, and it's a completely different thing. So I'm going to break down a few things. The vocal chain on this is Bananasville. It's like 10 plugins on the lead vocal. Me and Brent both co-mixed this together. It was more Brent's. We both produced together, but he tackled a bit more of this than I did. So some of this work is his, some is mine, but it's all Catalyst and all Skrizzly Adams, and I don't know. Ooh, that was a sneeze. How about that? Come here, Mazzy. Come here, buddy. Lay down. Lay down. Okay, good girl. Lay down. That's right. Good girl. Oh, she is such a sweetheart. We missed her terribly in Ecuador. Oh, that girl. But she was here the whole time. They were sending videos of her every day, so we got to see her in all of her glory. And, okay, so here we have Skrizzly Adams. This is the song that I opened the show to Sprint Mix. So if you were here from the beginning, you know the song. And hopefully, if you're a friend of the show, then you know Skrizzly Adams, because he is a definite friend of the show. Me and Brent have been producing him for many, many years now. He's a super, incredibly talented independent artist. And I'll give a very quick plug for Skrizzly. I think he has set up on his website now, or he was talking to me about doing it, that you can buy a private live stream concert from him of, I believe, 4 songs. And I can't remember how much it is, but it's very reasonable. And it's just like, if the girls just want to be, sung to by Skrizzly for 20-25 minutes, then everybody can pitch in and make that happen. If a party wants him to do a live stream set for the party, then that's what he's going to do. It's awesome. And that boy will drive across the fucking country to do a tour or a short series of shows. His dedication to his fan base is truly incredible. So in independent artist success land, that's the first thing you need to know. You need to fucking grind. It's not only that you need to also make great music, of course. That's a prerequisite. If you're not making great music, you're not going to compete, period. Some people get lucky, but anyway. But he gets out there and just works his shit. And he's got an aggregate of over 100 million streams worldwide, independently. He's doing okay. Cheers, Skrizzly. So, okay. So fire away on the chat roll if you got production questions. But I'm going to start with the drums. So all the drums are in purple. First, I guess let me just give you more of an overview. All the drums are in purple. All these things that sound like loops are not really loops, or they're one-shots put together to feel like loops. So all the purple are all drums all the way down to here. This is everything that's happening in the song. And maybe here would be the best place to solo those. And there, and solo. Oh yeah. Okay, so let me break those down a little bit so you can really see what's going on. The kicks, I think they're just here. So this is all the low end, those low big toms, and not the turnaround. Da, 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 those are on a different track. But the big low driving toms and all the low and higher kicks all layered together. You have the stomp kicks that are kind of the higher part of the kick sound. You have the thuddy kicks that are the lower part of the kick sound. And then you have these loops going on and these toms rumbling. But they're all cut. It's not like a live player that's really loose. This song is very much designed to establish a groove and keep that groove very consistent. And every single bar just feel like the same kind of a swing and the same kind of a tempo. So that was the goal in doing it, and that's hopefully that's what we accomplished. Now I'll start putting the other drums in. Let me put the these drum effects, and let me add the snares first. Tambourine. And of course the breaths, those So all of these things just layer upon layer sometimes, but really all we're trying to do is find the right feel. Once that feel locks in, you're done. Leave it alone, move on to something else. Or come back to it later and reassess, but don't, the ability to know when you've got what you need is a real skill. So, and of course we're looking at the drums in the chorus, so you can kind of see like that's a chorus, this is a chorus. The first chorus is a lot thinner, and then after the first chorus it opens up and adds a bunch of drums in verse 2 and expands. So this is a growing arrangement. You can look at just what the drums are doing visually and you can tell that this is a growing arrangement for what the drums do. Here's the basses. So the basses are all in purple. And real subby with some resonance. Let me solo them.
I said, then it'll bring us home. Homes. Love while we're nimble and young. Around my bone.
If you're listening with a sub, you just felt the world drop away for a second. Listen to the difference between the bass in and out just in the sub component.
We'll never be too old to move our skeletons.
It's funny because you don't really hear it. There's not enough buzz in this section to really identify that as like, oh, that's bass. But man, that sub component is so important to this portion of the mix. And then the bass in the bridge.
Dug by our feet while we dancing. Ripped at the bone, give me something to hold on to. I'll give you something to move on. From nothing to song, can't stay silent. We can work post-retirement. Close your eyelids and I'll take you deep into the night. Underground into the blind, but while we above, say let's keep this alive.
Damn, Bryce Fox has such a great flow on this, man. His sense of timing on the beat is really exceptional, which Skrizzly will take no offense to this. Skrizzly is all over on the beat. Skrizzly is all about just raw emotion and fucking just getting it out. But he's not so focused on like a rapper would be on the exactness of where the beat is hitting. And Bryce just rocks that fucking beat so nicely. And, you know, a funny thing about Skrizzly's vocal delivery that we've noticed over the course of his career is he's usually ahead of the beat. And that's a part of what has become the feel of Skrizzly Adams. So if you pocket his vocal too much, if you put it too on the beat, or if you try and move it just behind the beat, it no longer feels like Skrizzly Adams anymore sometimes. It feels like a different artist because part of the energy that he captures as an artist is being a little bit pushed, being a little bit ahead of where the drums are at all times. And that gives his songs and him as an artist a certain energy that's unique to him. And, you know, there's some artists that sing way behind the beat. Okay. Let me take a chat question. Hey, Ken, any chance... Oh, this is Jamie Heatley. Hey, Jamie, how are you? Hey, Ken, any chance we will be able to get our hands on these stems to sprint mix for ourselves? I'm going to have to ask Skrizzly Adams about that. He allowed me to give away the tipping point stems for, I can't remember what I gave him away for, but it was something like short-term and exclusive. But maybe, we'll see. Not yet. Sam Champagne from the chat roll asks, hey Ken, how long did it take to produce this rhythm section? Brent would need to be a part of that conversation, but typically a track like this, we go in such circles as producers, and we go down, not every time, but a lot of times. We go down so many different lanes that we end up slightly to greatly altering until we lock in the exact whatever it is that we're really looking for. And then on top of that, we probably play the what can you mute game at the end of all of that. So the one thing I love about me and Brent is that we're very slow producers, but we're very detail-oriented, thought-out producers, and it's all about feel for us. And the song and the production just has to feel great. So sorry, my dog is really spoiling for treats. Did I answer that, Sam? Les from the chat roll. Hey Ken, are there two kicks or is it just the stereo image? There are more than two kicks. So if I go back to this loop, here's 1, 2 kicks. I'll play them one at a time. Hang on. So you have kick and then stomps 2. Here's them together. But then you also have, and this is in the chorus, kick 1. Oh yeah. Kick 2. And I think that's an up kick, like it goes against the beat. So all of those kicks comprise the hook kick. And then the other things that are kind of contributors are these thang drums. Even though I don't know if when I made that loop I put the kick on the, but I probably did. So it's probably a floor tom, like a pair of toms, and then a kick drum under that. So that's adding to the overall weight of the low end and the kick and the punch on that boom, boom, boom. You know, just that 4 on the floor shit, but in a slightly non-traditional 4 on the floor way. And Kev J on the chat roll asks, hey Ken, did you use MIDI for the drums or live drums? It's a combination of both. You know, we do a ton of custom creation on our own productions, and virtually anything Catalyst does it doesn't sound unique to us. I think it sounds unique to the artist. We're always trying to we're always trying to produce for the artist. You know, what does the artist want to sound like? How can we make that the best, biggest version of that for them, and then execute. So there you have it. Let's see. Did you ask about kicks? Okay, I'm going to move on to... I want to show you the post-chorus lead, which is this Skeleton Bones track. I'll just play through it one time so you can hear the vocal into this, because at this point, this yellow track down here, that becomes the lead vocal. It's not a vocal, it's mallets. But that, when you're mixing and creating and producing, and you have an instrumental section that has a lead melody, not always, usually, the lead melody, synth, whatever, violin, guitar, whatever that is your lead vocal for that section. And you need to treat it and mix it like it's your lead vocal for that section, so that your lead vocal has this certain energy going into that section, and you don't lose that energy going into the instrumental section, and you don't lose that sense of melody. So, sorry for rambling. Listen.
Shaking up our love while we're nimble and young. Rattle my bones. We'll never be too old to move our skeletons. We'll never be too old to move our skeletons.
That's the raw sound. Actually, this is the raw sound. And we turn that into just something different, just something unique and kind of special. You know, it sounded a little, who's the guy with Kimba? You all know. It sounded a little too on the nose for that, so we wanted to change it up.
We'll never be too old to move our skeletons.
But do you notice, like, you can't really tell, is that a guitar? Is it keys? Is it... I don't know what it is, and I'm intrigued by it. As a listener, I'm like, okay, that's fucking cool. What the hell? Let me pick that apart for a second. And those are kind of, you know, we're always trying to look for these signature sounds that the first time you hear them, you're just like, that's dope. I heard somebody, I think it was Rafferty today. I want to say it was Rafferty on Spotify. I just was randomly listening to shit, and let me see who it was. Here's Skeletons. I think it was Rafferty. I don't know. But, fuck. I mean, just instant vibe. I was like, oh, this is dope. Who is this? And it's, you know, the first thing as a listener that catches you is the vibe, or maybe a specific lyric that stops you in your tracks. But it's something signature that just makes you go like, oh, shit. I need to pay attention to this a little bit more than all of that other stuff that I just kind of tune out the moment that I hear it. So, okay, back to the chat roll. Sam Champagne asks, hey, Ken, would you be interested in making a Splice Pack? Funny you should ask, Sam. We did. Apparently, having 100 gold records is not enough for Splice to want us to do a pack. I shit you not. They rejected our sound pack, which... honest to God, in my opinion, I thought was a fucking badass sound pack. But the funny irony of it is that I've already retooled one of the beats from that was going to be in that Splice sound pack, and I've placed it with something else. So I'm already remonetizing the thing without actually ever going through Splice, so they don't make money off me. So, 6 of 1. Really, we were like, what? Okay. So I guess it's harder than I thought to put out the Splice Pack. Okay. What else did I want to show on this? I wanted to show, the drums, the bones. Oh, okay. So we usually don't go this hard in on a, like a lead vocal processing. But the thing, here, let me show you. Come on, where is it? Okay, yeah, look at this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 insert plugins and one effect, aux throw. But the way that I look at mixing in general and mixing any one single sound is you kind of, after you add the next plugin, you kind of just mentally hit the reset button on what does this sound need. Like, okay, at the beginning, what does the sound need? Oh, well, it needs some compression and EQ and de-essing, and then you add the compression, and you're like, what does the sound need? Oh, it just needs some EQ now. And you keep asking yourself that question, and it's like hitting the reset button every time. So, yeah, there's 10 plugins, but sometimes you just, if you don't feel like you're going backwards, you just keep going until the sound is dialed in. And this one has a lot of different interesting components to it. Let me show you. Mazzy, what you doing there, babe? Are you pouting over there? Oh my goodness. Mazzy is a pouting machine. Lay down, babe. Come on, lay down. Good girl. Good. Yeah. I missed you too. I know. Don't be mad. Okay, so here's Skrizzly.
So rattle my bones.
So now the only reverb that we're getting is probably the pedals. Yeah, Springbox on. This is a spring reverb. Anybody that knows me knows that we love spring reverb. It's so dirty and awesome. And this is one of them. Check it with and without.
So rattle my bones. Shaking up our love while we're nimble and young. Rattle my bones.
So this is the other kind of reverbish sound on it. It's just a spreading delay.
So rattle my bones.
GreenHAAS does this much cooler.
So rattle my bones. Shaking up our love while we're nimble and young.
So we also over auto-tuned it. So you can hear sometimes it's really pulling hard, sometimes it's really natural. And we definitely wanted kind of a really modern vocal treatment to it, and the auto-tune with the style of song helped get that.
So rattle my bones, shaking up our love while we're nimble and young.
And here's without the auto-tune. Sorry, Skriz. Oh, okay, here's without the auto-tune.
So rattle my bones, shaking up our love while we're nimble and young. Rattle my bones.
And the thing about it is, he just sings with raw fucking emotion, and I comp through auto-tune. So I'm listening to every take with this amount of auto-tune. I don't care if he was 30 cents sharp or 50 cents flat. If this auto-tune pulls him into a feel while I'm comping that makes me go, wow, that line really hits me in a certain way. That is the only thing I don't even hear the raw takes except for when they go down live when he's singing them right next to me. After that, I usually don't hear him again until I'm comping them, and then I comp through auto-tune. And if he does a slow, bendy vocal or something like that, then I'll listen to it with and without auto-tune, and I'll ask myself which sounds better, because slow bends tend to kind of get stair-stepped by auto-tune and pulled in weird ways. Sometimes that's what you want. So this just had a little modern touch on the auto-tune. What else is interesting about this? Kramer Pi, pretty standard run-of-the-mill, just a control compression.
So rattle my bones, shaking up our love while we're nimble and young. Rattle my bones,
Really not much de-essing, because his S's weren't really super harsh, so I try not to fix what's not broken. But then I'm saturating it with the Shep's Omni channel, which I like the saturator on this a lot.
So rattle my bones, shaking up.
Do you hear how this gets it to the edge of distortion, but not quite there? This is saturation. That's what saturation is. It's like starting to break up. It's not quite. Check it out.
So rattle my bones, shaking up our love while we're nimble and young.
Here, that's a little too much for this song at 100, but back it off to like 75 and you're golden.
So rattle my bones, shaking up our love while we're nimble and young. Rattle my bones,
I don't think I used anything else on this channel strip on this, but I'll use all 5 modules on that sometimes. It's a pretty dope plugin. There's more de-essers. I'm going to put the spring reverb back in. API 560 just to kind of shape it a little bit more.
So rattle my bones, shaking up our love while we're nimble and young. Rattle.
I think he just sounds a little bit more hi-fi with the saturation and the API. And then Decapitator is hitting him even a little bit harder.
So rattle my bones, shaking up our love while we're nimble and young.
Again, saturation, not distortion. Edge of distortion. Just, man, if we went a little bit further, it would be too much. But, man, that's the sweet spot. And then the distressor, of course.
So rattle my bones.
And you can see medium attack, fast release. I've got the detection, sculpted, and the output is filtered, so in case he's got any low frequency plosives or rumble in the room, then it just gets rid of it right there. Mazzy, are you pouting? My goodness, baby girl, you are really demanding. Oh, Maz. This is what the distressor is doing.
So rattle my bones, shaking up our love while we're nimble and young. Rattle my bones.
Hear how it just takes that almost finished vocal and just, with a pop song like this, you don't really want much dynamic. You want the perception of dynamics without actually having any. That's the brilliance of picking the right vocal takes, comping the right vocal takes together to get the emotion and feel out of the performance that you want, and then you can compress it a little bit harder so that it just sits right in place and is, you know, really driving the song, but not jumping too loud and not loud enough, and you're not having to do a million automation rides. That's kind of the thing. Let's see what else is. So here's the full vocal chain. It's a lot, but it was and then bus 1 is Abbey Road, probably chamber. Yeah, Abbey Road chamber. This is a dope chamber. This one in the UAD Capital Chambers, which is Bananasville. This one is, I like this as a vibe box. It's got some really cool vibe things, especially this gain. So after you dial in what reverb you want, then you can crank up or down the gain in whatever frequency range you choose, 2.7, 3.5, or 10K. And it can really help you create, here, just listen to what it does.
So rattle my bones, shaking up our love while we're nimble and young.
You see that just the presence of what's happening with the voice. I'm kind of exaggerating it, so hopefully you can hear it. If you got headphones on, I think you can hear it.
So rattle my bones, shaking up our love while we're nimble and young. Rattle my bones.
Yeah, it's a dope. What else is going on here? Here's one that I like a lot. The audio thing, springs. It's a little noisy. You gotta, just like the wave stuff, you gotta remember to turn the noise off. And I use it only on inserts, so you gotta turn the dry off, but it defaults to half dry, half wet. So if you're using it as an aux, you gotta turn the dry all the way off. But it's got a bunch of different settings. I won't scroll through them right now, but there's like 6 different, maybe 8 different springs that it models, and this one's really dope. I also like the Arturia 636 spring is just dirt heaven. It's not as versatile as that one, but it's super cool sounding for what it does. And then the Eventide spring is pretty nice. There's a bunch of good spring choices now. And then, of course, the mother load is the fucking UAD AKG BX20. Oh, God, I couldn't find that one. Yeah, that. But so here's the difference. Like, to me, the AKG BX20 on UAD is gorgeous, but it's really clean and beautiful and usually dark and carries forever. Whereas most of the springs that I like for my own productions personally are these just dirty, nasty character. It's just a different character. I mean, the one is like Adele all day long. And these are more like, you know, Skrizzly Adams does rocks and, you know, that kind of stuff. So, let's see. And then I guess I could kind of quickly go over the mix bus and then call it a night. If you got... Oh. All right, from the chat roll, George Thompson asks, "Hey Ken, do you have a workout routine or any hacks to stay healthy?" Yes, I do. She is sitting right next to me. She has been our savior during the pandemic. We adopted her right before lockdown. We were fostering her, and she was just too awesome to let go. And the most amazing thing about her is we've never had a dog that absolutely demands that you walk her every single day, no matter what. And if you don't walk her, she pouts until she gets walked every day. It is insane. But having a dog that demands that of you when you need to be doing that to stay healthy, and we really did, was really incredible motivation to get out. Even I was taking her out in 20-degree weather, freezing my ass off, you know, because she was just like, look, I don't care how cold it is, I want to walk. So get a dog, drink water before coffee, don't drink coffee until you need it, and then drink cold brew iced coffee. I mean, come on, we're not heathens here, jeez. Speaking of which, let's see, what other health tips do I have? Pay attention to what your body is telling you. I had open heart surgery when I was 37 years old, and I looked like this, but I did not feel like I should be walking down the street. I felt like I should be dropping dead. And if I hadn't addressed it, I would have dropped dead. So fortunately, I caught it. But, you know, pay attention to what your body is telling you, and don't be a tough guy and tough it out. man, if you're having problems, find a way to get that shit checked out. The other real golden thing is sleep. 7-8 hours a night of sleep. The cheat code with that is that amount of sleep makes you more creative, and it typically allows you to work faster and more creatively in a shorter period of time. So gutting it out and working these insane hours when you don't need to push yourself that hard. Sometimes you have deadlines and shit just happens and you got to do it. But when you don't push yourself so hard. Get a great night of sleep, drink good water, and wake up fresh and create, and you'll probably really create some amazing new things. And if Mazzy doesn't get a treat soon, she is going to bite me. All right, Mazzy. Another treat. You've been a good girl. There you go. Cutest hellhound. Mix bus. Okay. Let me turn everything off. And add it back one at a time so you can kind of see the thinking process behind it. Boom. Here's... No! Did I just... maybe. Okay. Nope, that's our settings. Okay. No settings. Here, this is dry mix bus.
So rattle my bones. So rattle my bones.
These are like death by 1,000 cuts. These are all small moves that add up to a big result. So this is just a little bump in the mid-range. This is similar to what I do with the Pultecs.
So rattle my bones. Shaking up our love while we're nimble and young. Rattle my bones. We'll never be too old to move our skill.
Now you see the one thing that I changed up this time because it was such a 4-on-the-floor driving song is I had to adjust the attack to find the sweet spot for how I wanted it to grab the mix. Because it was this real pumping 4-on-the-floor and the feel of this is everything. What you doing there, babe? So a bit faster attack. Usually my manly UAD settings are slowest attack, slowest release. And the threshold all the way down and a ton of compression and high pass filter on the sidechain. But this, you gotta listen to how the compressor is reacting, and you gotta ask yourself if it's doing what you think and want it to do, and then if you need to adjust it, do so. So there you go. Here's the one that I use for the mid-range bump, the UAD Pultec Pro Legacy. Just inserting this before you touch a knob gives you the same, they modeled one. So the real ones, a lot of them, you would just patch it into your patch point and instantly you would get this kind of just mid-range presence bump that just happened to help vocals pop out a little bit more, or snare drums or whatever you wanted to put through it. So I've found this thing is like the 3D EQ box. It just brings things out in your mix that you didn't even really know that you had. So let me just put it through a couple of its paces and let you hear what some of these frequency bands can do.
So rattle my bones. Shaking up our love while we're nimble and young. Rattle my bones. We'll never be too old to move our skeletons. So rattle my bones.
And it's a good trick to overemphasize and really listen to exactly what the EQ is grabbing hold of and affecting. And then it's a real skill to be able to bring it way up because it sounds so good when it's so clear, but you're like, this is way too much. So you got to bring it up, hear what it's doing, and then find the sweet spot, which especially when you're trying to learn these things, you bring it up way too loud, then you back it off until you lose it too much, and then you bring it back in until it's you know, you have a little bit too much of it again, and it's just like a seesaw until you're like, this is the sweet spot, and that's how you learn how to EQ.
So rattle my bones, shaking up our love while we're nimble and young.
And I don't need any low-end help on this, but one great trick with a Pultec is just doing a 100 hertz boost or even a 60 hertz boost on the EQP1A. It affects way more than 100 hertz. It's way up into the lower mids, and when you need some of that low frequency support that's just not there. This song has tons of low frequency, so I don't need any. But if you listen to what this does for like the warmth of the guitars and the size of the vocals, even though it's going to make the low end a little bit too big, give it a listen.
So rattle my bones, shaking up our love while we're nimble and young. Rattle my bones, we'll never be too old to move our skeletons.
So yeah, this thing is a really cool vibe box. Okay, so that's on, and then this Eric Racy Black Box HG2, man, I love this thing. Usually on Pro Tools I start with this thing called Rock Anarchy, and I just tweak it from there. I don't know why that one tends to be one of my go-tos. Doesn't always work, but man, when it does. This one I just dialed in by ear.
So rattle my bones.
And this is a saturator, so headed towards distortion, but not quite there.
So rattle my bones, shaking up our love while we're...
And you see the high frequency air support that I'm getting right here. It's at 60. Listen to, I'll overemphasize it and I'll seesaw it.
So rattle my bones, shaking up our love while we're nimble and young.
You can really hear it in the top of the acoustic guitars, the scrape of the pick on the strings.
So rattle my bones, shaking up our love while we're nimble and young. Rattle my bones.
And the rest of it is just different models of saturation. BX Digital is probably just spreading it out a little bit. Yeah, we got 112 on the stereo width, so it's just taking the stereo width and just going a little bit wider, but not so much that you're starting to incur phase problems. But then I also took 2K and I took 1 dB of only the sides of 2K and pushed it out a little bit. So just the middle of the mid-range is just a little bit wider than the speakers. I don't know why I did that, but it's effective. And then the finisher is FabFilter Pro L2 on this one. Killer. 24-bit dither, 16-bit over, 16 times oversampling. It can go up to 32, but I mean, at some point, how much is enough? 4 is probably enough. I don't know, but if you know, I got the power, so 16. And then output I have set to 0.07, but I would really recommend 0.1 dB on your brick wall ceiling. 0.1 gives you enough breathing room to be totally fine on streaming services if you're putting out your stuff independently. Streaming services, sometimes you need just a little tiny bit of headroom so that you don't distort on them if you've got like a heavy low end or something. And then this happened to be transparent, and I just pushed up the gain until I got the amount of final RMS that I was looking for, and done. And here's the difference between this. This is more just really, the only thing L2 does is make it louder. I'm not trying to change the shape or scope of the mix at all. If I want a final finishing limiter to change the tone of the mix, the BX True Peak limiter is really fantastic for that. It's got like a tilt and some other really crazy functions that go beyond this for like cool modeling. Not modeling, just cool shaping. There you go, shaping.
So rattle my bones, shaking up our love while we're nimble and young. Rattle my bones, we'll never be too old to move our skeletons.
And usually I'm looking for a final RMS of between -7 and -9 on the RMS meter. But I have learned that every RMS meter is totally different. And the one that I have come to rely on only as a meter is the Slate FGX. It's a fine finishing box. It's great. It's like 99% as good as the Pro L2. But the meter is what I trust to dial in my final levels. And I dial in my final levels between -7 and -9, and that's that. So I think that's all the questions we got. That's Skrizzly Adams. Skeletons? Follow Skrizzly on socials. He's such an awesome friend of the show. Mazzy, come on, Mazzy, you want a treat? Oh my goodness, are you pouting? I'm not a constant treat farm for her, so okay. So I'm gonna call it a night. Thank you for hanging out with me tonight. I am Ken Lewis. This is Mixing Night. Man, I will see you in 2 weeks. Enter the beat challenge. It's gonna be so much fun, and you know, it's gonna be a throwdown. So I will see you in 2 weeks for Mixing Night. Thank you for hanging out. Good night.